What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
Guys, I mean, I don't want to blow your doors off here, but Kyle Shanahan, good reporting here from New Orleans on football. Kyle Shanahan was asked about Clint Kubiak, and he said Clint Kubiak is a hell of a coach. Okay.
What if he had been like, you know what? Good guy, but thank God New Orleans took him off my hands.
I mean, so like, right, like that is kind of the funny part about this. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, you know, nobody, like what, you're right. Like in what world is a coach going to be like, yeah, you know, the guy's okay. I mean, he did, you know, maybe he pointed out something that has actual substance when he was talking about, look, I mean, you got to understand the guy's been around so many great coaches. He's obviously Gary Kubiak's son. And this system that, you know, Kyle Shanahan talks about running his system for 20 years, to, you know, going back to his father, and basically saying, you know, it's constantly changing and evolving, and the only way to make it work is to kind of take the core philosophies and make them your own based on your own experience and your own strengths. And to be fair, Kubiak does have a nice, background from which to pull, right? Amalgamation, Jake. Yes. He can if he puts it all together, he can create an offense that is an amalgamation of all of these influences and these excellent coaches he worked for in the past. We just got to see. I mean, look, I don't really care about what Shanahan said because, again, what's he going to say, right? But there is so much pressure on Kubiak to make this work because really the entire vision of what Mickey Loomis and the Saints organization has chosen to be coming out of the golden era, so desperately trying to prove that they can be a good and consistently relevant franchise when outside of Breeze Payton, that has never been the case. I mean, maybe a little bit with the Dome Patrol and them back in the late 80s, early 90s, but it kind of all comes down to Kubiak making Derek Carr work. And so, look, I'll say this for the Saints, Jake. Last year, you reworked the defensive staff. That actually paid immediate dividends. You had a better defense this year. This year, it's not just Kubiak. You also bring in Keith Williams to be your wide receiver coach. He comes over from Baltimore. Again, John Harbaugh had some. Now, John Harbaugh, I thought, had some this might have actual substance talking about Keith Williams, saying, quote, Keith is one of the all-time great coaches at detailed route running. He's a great route running coach. All the other things he's also great at, but he's great with the guys, relate to the guys, got a relationship with the guys, knows the game structure, blah, blah. But I've never seen a better route running coach, and we're going to miss it. I think that's actually pretty legitimate. If a guy's going out of his way to be specific, that means that he is really blown away with how Keith Williams teaches that. And that's pretty exciting for a talented Saints receiving corps.
And the offense needed a reset. It needed some new faces. It needed some new ideas because you were trying to hold on to something that wasn't there anymore. And that's what Pete Carmichael was. And so did he catch a lot of strays? He did. Now, some were earned, but he was trying to make something work. And everything is going to be different. Like when you have a certain way of doing things, but the personnel's different, it's just not going to work out. And it felt like they never made a move to the new personnel that they had. And that's why Pete Carmichael ends up right back in Denver with Sean Payton, because that's where he's at his best. That's what he knows best. And that roster is trying to find parts to what the Saints had for so long. And so it needed to hit a full reset. And so, yes, there's a lot of pressure, but also I think coming in with new ideas, it's going to relieve some pressure. Yeah. I think having your own way of doing things and kind of hitting reset and teaching it as you would and not trying to have Pete Carmichael teach it as Sean Payton would. I think that part of it is going to be good for the Saints offense.
Well, and look, if Williams is as good as Harbaugh is advertising there, I mean, it could be huge for A.T. Perry, who showed a lot of promise last year. Obviously, Chris Olave is already on the way to becoming one of the better receivers in the entirety of the NFL. And so now you pair him with an expert like this. Rashid Shaheed, again, I really like. And, I don't know what Cedric Wilson has to offer. It is kind of funny. Spring meetings, all these comments are so positive. Mike McDaniel was effusive in his praise talking about Cedric Williams, but he had a very funny quote where he said, because he didn't really put up any stats.
Right.
In Miami, but he's a, quote, a phenomenal player that truly evolved at the receiver position in our offense. He's capable of participating in innumerable ways and can come through in the clutch, even if it's in the fourth quarter. I don't know what to make of that. Come through in the clutch, that's kind of the point, right? The fourth quarter is the clutch, but whatever. So I'm not going to say Cedric Wilson is going to be awesome, but again, I like the room as a whole. And now maybe they get another addition there, or maybe they go alignment. We'll see. Dallas Turner now expected to be the first switch player off the board, but Keith Williams, something to keep an eye on. Kubiak, though, a lot of pressure to make this offense good last year and make Derek Carr work, because that's kind of what you've based everything off of.
It has to. It has to, because he's your guy.
Yeah.
There's no option. There's no Jameis behind him. There's no even Andy Dalton behind him. You have Jake Haener and you have Nathan Peterman. It has to work.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work, then as bad as last year was, it's going to be worse. So, no, you're all in. And you've brought so many things around Derek Carr that are familiar to him. Almost like he's a young player. And he's not. He's a vet. But you've brought pieces that have spent time with him. Him and Nathan Peterman were quarterbacks together for the Raiders. Right? We know his relationship with Dennis Allen. Now, Dennis was there before he got there, but you're trying to make him as comfortable as possible with a lot of moves that you've made.
And so we'll see if it works. Again, I like the offensive moves again, but it's hard to feel too bullish about Carr. Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.